Hello students, in today's lecture we are going to do Merchant of Venice by William Shakespeare. Today we are going to cover Act 3 Scene 2. But before we begin with Act 3 Scene 2, let's have a quick recap or a revision of what we did in Act 3 Scene 1. So to begin with, the scene took place in Venice, a street. Now here, Salanio and Salario meet and they are having a conversation that Antonio has suffered heavy losses. Rumors are rife about the loss of his ship at sea. Antonio must be careful, for if he fails to pay Shylock at the right time, he will be entirely at the mercy of Jew. That means we are talking about the bond which he has signed, according to which if he forfeits the bond, Shylock has the right, or he can legally take the pound of flesh from Antonio's body. Now Shylock enters and charges the two friends of knowing about the whereabouts of his daughter. He is sure that these two friends know where his daughter Jessica is. Salario tells him of the rumor about Antonio's loss. The Jew is very pleased that his enemy Antonio is bankrupt and is determined to make him pay according to the bond. His wrath, anger knows no bounds, for Antonio has criticized the charging of interest by Shylock. Salario is amazed that Shylock will demand a pound of flesh. The Jew said that it could be used as a bait for fish or to satisfy his lust for revenge. He complains whether he is to be deprived of his right to live because he is a Jew. If a Jew wrongs a Christian, then the Christian seeks revenge. Surely, therefore, a Jew can seek revenge for a wrong done by a Christian. Here, Shylock is talking about the humiliation or the insult which Antonio has done before. Antonio had called him a dog, he had spat on his robe, and he has insulted him many a times at the Rialto, the stock exchange, just for Shylock lending money on interest or charging heavy interest, also just because he was a Jew. Shylock appeals to humanity itself against the injustice meted out to his race, Jewish race. They may be Jews, but they are human beings. Since now he has got an opportunity, he will avenge his nation and himself. Actually, the real intention of Shylock lending money to Antonio itself was that he took it as an opportunity to avenge his insult on the insult to his tribe as well as nation. Salario and Salanio now leave. Tubal, friend of Shylock, also a moneylender, arrives and tells him that Jessica is in Guineas. Shylock becomes furious. He curses his daughter. When Tubal tells him that Antonio is threatened with complete financial ruin, he exults over his prospect of his having revenge. That is, he clears his intention that he is surely going to go by the bond and avenge his insult or humiliation. He asks Tubal to find out a lawyer a fortnight before the bond is due so that he can legally take action against Antonio. So with this, you must have got a fair idea or a quick revision of what we did in Act 3 Scene 1. So let's proceed with the next scene, that is Scene 2, Act 3 Scene 2. Now, before I start with the line by line explanation, let me give you a fair idea about what the scene 2 exactly is about. Now here, Act 3, Scene 2, the scene took place in Belmont, a room in Portia's house. Portia asked Bassanio to wait for a few days before making the choice of the caskets. So here, after all those suitors, Bassanio has arrived in Belmont to select the right casket to woo Portia and to marry her. Bassanio wishes to take the test immediately as he couldn't take the suspense. Bassanio hears bad news about Antonio. That means he also comes to know that Antonio has been bankrupt and the Shylock is going to go by his bond. So here, Portia tells Bassanio to wait before choosing a casket because she doesn't want to lose him too soon. Because in case if Bassanio chooses a wrong casket, so according to the will, or according to the oath, the suitor has to leave immediately if he chooses a wrong casket. Here in this scene, we see Portia comparing Bassanio to Hercules, the demigod. Bassanio examines the casket and prolongs his choice. He chooses the lead casket with Portia's portrait inside. That is the right casket. Portia gives Bassanio a ring which he must never part with, or it signifies the end of his love for her. That means she gives that ring to Bassanio, saying that he should never part or lose that ring, and if he does, it means the end of his love for her. Nerissa and Gratiano admit to falling in love and are also going to wed. That is, they also admit that they love each other and want to get married. A letter is given to Bassanio from Antonio saying that he had lost all his ships and Shylock wants his flesh. Bassanio convinces Portia to let him go to Venice and save Antonio. He is guilty, that is, Bassanio is feeling guilty because he curses himself, or somewhere he blames himself for Antonio to be in this condition or in this situation, because Antonio had taken that money on interest from Shylock for none other than Bassanio. Jessica is worried her dad is more interested in revenge. So with this, let's start with our Act 3, Scene 2. Children, I'll be reading out the lines from your textbook and the explanation in simple English or modern English you can see on the screen. Since it was not possible for me to cover the both, so let's quickly start with the lines. Belmont, a room in Portia's house. As I said, the scene took place in Belmont, a room in Portia's house, where Bassanio has come as a suitor to select the right casket to woo Portia with an intention to get married to her. So here in this scene, we can see enter Bassanio, Portia, Gratiano, Nerissa and attendants. So as I said, children, I'll be reading out the lines and the explanation in modern English, simple English, is being displayed on the screen. So I request you all to open your textbooks, keep it in front, as well as to have or hold a pencil in your hand to jot down few important points. Portia, I pray you tarry pause a day or two before you hazard. So here Portia is telling Bassanio to wait a day or two before he chooses the right casket. I lose your company, therefore forbear a while. There is something tells me, but it is not love. I would not lose you, and you know yourself. Hate counsels not in such a quality, but lest you should not understand me well, and yet a maiden hath no tongue but thought. So here Portia is requesting Bassanio to pause, that is to wait or delay a day or two before he chooses the right casket, because she is scared that if Bassanio chooses the wrong casket, she will lose his company. So she is requesting him to wait a while. She has got this feeling which she admits or accepts it is not love. Also, she says that hate does not give this kind of advice. She is saying that if this is not love, then at least this is not hate. Because if you hate someone, then you don't get this type of feeling. Lest you should misunderstand me, that a maiden cannot express what she feels. She requests Bassanio to stay here, that is stay here in Belmont for a month or two before Bassanio makes the final choice. She also says that meanwhile she could guide Bassanio how to choose the right casket. I would detain you here some month or two before you venture for me. That is, here she is saying that she will guide Bassanio to choose the right casket before Bassanio choosing a right casket. How to choose right, but then I am forsworn. Now forsworn here means she has taken an oath, and she is afraid that by doing so she'll be breaking the oath, because she has taken this oath that she will not disclose which is the right casket to any of her suitor. So she is afraid that by doing so she'll be breaking the oath which she has taken. So will I never be. So she's saying I shall never do this. So you may miss me, but if you do, you will make me wish a sin. So it is possible that Bassanio may lose Portia by making a wrong choice. That is, if he chooses a wrong casket, he has to lose Portia. Beshrew your eyes, they have overlooked me and divided me. She is saying that curse your eyes, that is Bassanio's eyes, because they have overlooked her and divided her. Beshrew here means curse. So she is saying that curse your eyes because they have overlooked me. Overlooked means they have fascinated me or captivated me and divided me. One half of me is yours, the other half yours. Mine own, I would say, but if mine, then yours. And so all yours. Oh, these naughty times. Put bars between the owners and their rights. So she's saying, curse your eyes because they have looked me over and divided me. One half of me is yours and the other half is also yours, my love. I would say, but if my love, then yours, so everything yours. I repeat, since it's a bit confusing, she says that your eyes are to be blamed because they have fascinated me or captivated me and divided me. One of one half of me already belongs to you, and the other half also belongs to you. So she is saying that the other half belongs to me, but if it belongs to me, it belongs to you. So this way I am completely yours. Oh, these naughty times. Now here she is kind of blaming or cursing the time. The times are very wicked because they put obstacle, bars here means obstacles, between the owners and their rights. So she is saying the time, these wicked time, or the time, these times are very wicked because they put obstacle between the owners and their rights. So here she is referring Bassanio as the owner and their rights, that means Portia.